Hello everybody, and welcome to Moonmoth North. And this is going to be our new area. It wasn't unscathed, but it had the least damage compared to the southern area, which is surprising because the wind came from the north. But hey ho, here we are. We're going to start using this forest, and today we're going to have a question and answer, and I have the assistance of a Fenian, of Dacia Gaia Senior, and a back, and they will be helping with your questions. You have asked some wonderful questions, and they are going to help and assist with them. Meanwhile, we have a beautiful bullfinch up on a tree about 10 feet away from me, watching proceedings. Amazing. So, without much further ado, I have got some video and screenshots for you to watch, because you don't really need to see me. And the first question is from Hiker, and it was in reference to the circle of winter stars, the winter star circle. So she's questioning what I said, which was, doesn't the circle of winter stars have 6 stars, Sally? Well, as I know nothing about anything, and I rely on information from the family, I will ask them. So, who wishes to help me on this? Athenian Sally. So what they're saying is that we may see 6 stars, we try hard, we may see 7 or 8, but there's really 9, and some we can't see. Not all the stars that we have had have been attributed to the winter circle. Right, so that's what she's saying. They're saying there are 9. Thank you, Athenian. So my next question is from a lady called Dawn Hewitt, and interesting enough, she says, what do they, meaning the people, what do the people know about us that we don't know? So, who's answering this one? Dacia Gaia, my dear. He is saying, we see the whole picture. If you imagine a tram line alongside our tram line in life, they're with us, assist us, sometimes guide us. They cannot alter the course of our free will, but they can certainly open doors, grease the wheels, and show us a different path. It's up to us whether we choose to take it or not. So, I hope that answers your question, Dawn. So he's adding to this, he's saying you have free will and you can go in any direction you choose, but the end point is always the same. So we will always be there to guide and assist and help. So they can't alter our path, but they can give us more options. Thank you, Dassie, again. So, now we go to Audrey B. I love Audrey's questions. They always get my mind thinking. So, Audrey B. Her first question is, can animals see the family when they are in their essence state? Who's answering this? It's a back. And he says yes, they can. They see our auras, they see each other's auras, and how they can spot danger and safety, which is why sometimes a hunter, you can give them the impression of why a hunter sometimes has a deer that will come and stand by them when it senses danger. So it's spotting the least dangerous. Isn't that interesting? So animals can spot this, they can sense it vibrationally. And it kind of puts the myth about animals only seeing in black and white into a cocked hat, really, because they can see colour auras. Interesting. Thank you, we're back. So the second question, I'm not sure who's going to answer the second question of Audrey's. She says, I was interested in Sarada's orb as the blue ray of light. Now, when Sarada was helping us in the forest, we saw that blue orb. Now, I feel that that is a refraction of the camera, which they then utilise the colour and the light that's being emanated from as an opportunity to show themselves. But she said, I wonder, is that her soul's level of advancement? This is Athenian, she's saying this is mine. It is. It's showing her path of healing. Does that make sense to people? Showing her path of healing. She's also learning to be a healer of the mind and of the soul, much like her mother, Ahojida. Interesting. Wow, that's interesting. So she's saying some family lines are gifted, and it follows father to son, mother to daughter. So maybe one of Sarada's daughters will in turn follow that line. Exactly, she's saying exactly. Right. Well, that's good. Very good. And finally, from Audrey B. I would be interested to learn if they can see disease in everything, humans, nature, and animals, by the aura energy fields. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And some things we can help with, and some things we cannot. Now, hang on. Man-made carcinogens are difficult to alleviate. We can alleviate pain and spiritual blockages. But a broken leg is still a broken leg. But a broken heart can be nursed, held, and healed. Wow. Wow. I'm going to repeat that for you. So she says, a broken heart can be held, nursed, and healed. No one is alone. Wow. That's powerful. Powerful stuff. Right. Thank you, Athenian. So, now Eileen, AMS Dave. Her first question, and all of these questions have been from the last 10, 12 videos people have posted, so I have taken them off there. So, Eileen, she says, the upcoming winter solstice on the 21st of December, so actually that has passed. So, it was on the 12/21. So, I'm very curious if the energy is to be higher than normal this year, and how the people may process or utilize the energies. Who would like to answer that? Dacier, my dear, Dacier here. The date isn't, but the period of time. So I think to pinpoint a specific date is very difficult. But it's the area of time. So they would match it by when the stars are in the right position, which can alter to not necessarily the same date that we attribute each year or time. It's a great resource, energetically and spiritually and universally for us. An opportunistic time, fortuitous. So, the remainder of that question was, does the date 12/21/21 have any great significance to them or the energies? They don't use dates in the same way as we do. But the period of time may be. So we have a rigid calendar. We stick with 1st to the 30th or 1st to the 31st of a month on any given month. I don't think they do. We are guided by the pattern of the stars. So it is to the stars, to the constellations, movement paths and orbits. And the solstice that we call the solstice, we give it a day. I think it's a period of time for them. So it might be several days, several weeks. And they measure time differently to us. So, then, this was in reference to vivid vision. And Eileen is saying, I wonder what colours they see with dyed hair. So, who's going to answer this? Abak. Here comes Abak. So what he's saying is, so even though it's daylight now and the sun is somewhere up there, but at the moment actually there's a bit of cloud cover, does that mean the stars are not there? So the stars are still there, we just can't see them. So it doesn't really matter what colour you dye your hair, they still know what the original colour is. Don't they use great similes, great examples and metaphors? So the last question from Eileen. What do the people think of those who are out searching for Bigfoot and use the technique of huge long whoops and howls like they did on the TV series Finding Bigfoot? Do the people find it comical, or is it an annoyance? It's ridiculous. Is that Dassie? It's all of us. It's ridiculous. All they have to do is use their power of thought to communicate. Don't have to do hoops and wows. They don't know what they're saying. And those that do produce those noises in the forests in America, there's a signature to their call, so people know exactly who it is. And we have not got the lung capacity as human beings. Well, Bobo thinks he has, but we have not got the lung capacity to be able to produce that. We have one set of vocal cords. They have at least 10, now up to 12 different sets of vocal cords which can produce huge sounds within our hearing range and and outside of our hearing range. So that's pointless. Right, okay. Merely entertainment. It's merely entertainment. Well, I think we've sussed that out. So Steve Pyer. Now, I believe, Steve, you're up in Montana somewhere. I might be wrong, but Steve Pyer. Do they make their structures when in the physical state, or both physical and cloaked state? I think he means essence state. Yes, we do. We can do it in our physical or in our essence state. We tend, this is, who's saying this? Abak. Abak is saying we tend to use our essence state and use kinetic energy because it can be more, it's more exact. But some things are physical and have to be physical. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Steve. Then I've got Teresa, and this is a rhetorical question, really. And Teresa, you're in Georgia. And she says, I'm always so amazed by how willing the family is to share their knowledge. And what she is saying is, it is our pleasure, my dear, it is our pleasure. If you want to learn, we are here to help and guide. And Teresa has an amazing family up there in Georgia that she has been communicating with. She has a very special relationship with them. So thank you for that, Teresa, and I hope things are good up in Georgia. So Louise D. Now Louise, you come from England, Northern England, and it says, it really makes you think a little differently about yourself. And she's talking about the video of vivid vision and the colour spectrums. So she's saying, I'm imagining what I would look like with violet eyes and iridescent, Medusa-like, mad curly hair. I almost want to say, empowering to imagine yourself in this otherworldly way against the mundane backdrop of our daily work and chores. Does anybody want to comment on that? Different dimensions use different tools to access their environment. Not all of us can use colour auras, some of us can. Who's saying this? Aback. This is Aback. I think he's quite impressed that you are able to imagine yourself looking differently from what we see and we think we see. So Dion Fortune. Now, am I right in thinking you're in the Caribbean? Are you Trinidad? Somewhere like that? First question he has is, we as human beings have done atrocities to one another over the centuries, such as the Holocaust and the slave trade. Great point, great point. So, can they see the good and bad in all of us? Athenian here. There we are. Everybody is redeemable. Everybody has the ability to make the best of themselves and be their best, higher self. Many of us make mistakes, human beings this is, and sometimes we try to repay what we've done. Sometimes we're forced to, as in criminal system likes. But there is always a higher authority waiting for us. So we just need to do the best we can. But some people are redeemable, they are always redeemable. And others totally lost. They can never find their way out of the darkness. Wow, thank you for that, Athenian. Dion has another question here. How do they feel seeing how horrible we can be to one another? Incredibly sad. Oh, it's incredibly sad. Gosh, I can feel what they're saying. They can show me the feeling of sadness. So one small act of kindness has multiple, 10 times the value of any act of unkindness. These are great memes. So the last question, Dion says, is, I believe in guardian angels. Can the people see, that is, angels or other spiritual beings around us? Yes, we can. They walk among us. We are within. Right, these realms are within ours also. They help and assist us also. So she's saying they help and assist the people as well. Surprisingly enough, we all help and assist each other even through all the dimensions, many of the dimensions, sorry, including our dimension, 3D, human nature, human race, and what we are doing and what people here are listening to and partaking in. It's all helping. So I think the answer to your question there, Dion, is yes, they can. So now, Billy Meyer, so she's saying, I love the perspectives that you bring. Let me say, this is what the people bring. I am relaying what they bring, because effectively my brain is a hollow space. So it makes me see things in a different way. Never thought about shadows on the ground from structures before. Does anybody want to answer that one or comment on that one? Dacia Gaia, thank you. So he's saying, you being funny. He's saying shadows and shedding light on things helps us to see things in different perspectives, and I just get the sense he has the biggest grin on his face. Well, what he's really saying is it helps to look at things from several different angles, not just physical things, but things that we think about, thought in our mind. So, Degenerati. Moon moth is vastly different to other forests I watch, and I suspect it is due to the profusion of pine and virtually no other types of tree around. Well, I have covered this myself a few times, but I'll say it again. The forests here belong to the Forestry Commission. These are not a natural forest, they are planted, they are a crop, and the Forestry Commission is growing pine, various genuses of pine, whether it's Scots pine, Douglas fir, cypress, larch, whatever, various forms of pine, and they are then going to be sold as a crop. So the trees are cut down and then they'll be replanted. It's an 80-year cycle usually. Some of these trees are 80 years old. So they will all eventually be cut down. So like you would grow cabbages in a field and sell your cabbages for food over a space of a year, this is an 80-year project. So that is why there is no variety of tree. That's why there's no birch or oak or anything else like that mixed up. This is the Pinus gene, and that's what they're selling. That's a quick turnover for the Forestry Commission. But so Abak is saying, energetically, pine has properties that we find useful for energy, creating, storing and using energy. So I think, can I say that's about far? Right, so I think that what he's told me this before, that pine forests are like a power bank. He's saying a power bank, Sally, a power bank. So it's like the national grid. Just tap into the source when they need to. Now we have Ice Blue. This is Greg, who's way up in the north in Alaska. Now he has several questions in one. And his first is, who are they? And why are they communicating with us now? And why don't they physically come forward? Hello Greg, hell up to the cold north. My gosh, hardy stuff you guys are made from up there. Who wants to answer this? So Dacia Gaya is going to assist with this. And he is saying there are true giants in the north. True giants. These peoples are fine if left alone. When you say giants, how big are we talking about? Anything from 15 feet to 24 feet. Right. Their comparison is with the Solomon Island giants. More recently in Kandahar. Right. And Easter Island. That's interesting. They are very protective of themselves and who they are, and the area that they live in, and there have been many skirmishes with them and Native Americans. Who quite rightly leave them alone. Just because you're big does not make you invincible. And so this is how they survive. They're very protective of themselves. They keep themselves very much to themselves. So that's one of the things that he's saying when he's saying, who are they? Why are they communicating with us now? So when he was talking about true giants, he's talking about Alaska. Saying about the very north of Alaska, there are true giants. I think there are very few places in the world where this occurs. So, why are they communicating with us now? He says, we have always communicated over centuries. He says, look right back through history. Ancient civilizations, we have always communicated. We have always been, in some instances, we have been a part of the communities. Wow, there we go. So it's not a new thing at all. Why don't they physically come forward? Now, Fenian, you gave me a very poignant answer to this yesterday when I ran this question by you. Would you like to repeat what you said yesterday? And the answer was this. May I say this on your behalf? Athenian, why don't they come forward? Why don't they physically come forward? And her response was, do you think we would survive? How sad. How sad is that? But when you see other Bigfoot channels, she's correct. She's correct. So then, right, a question from Laura Johnson. So Laura says, do the beautiful people like figs and avocados? You bet. We love them. But perhaps not together. Isn't that crazy? I think they find that amusing. They're loving that. So, this period of time, this coming year, there is, and this goes back to it goes back to a question by Eileen, AMS Dave, about the period of time that we're in at the moment. And this is just me wanting to say this, really. It's about... I thought it was to do with the realignment of stars and things, but it's to do with the magnetic plates and zones and ridges. Magnetic ridges. So, there is a realignment within the universe. Things have moved slightly. And this is not perceptibly noticeable because it's not just planet Earth, it's the whole universe that has shifted. And if you imagine one universe up against another universe, how many universes are there? We've no idea. And so it appears to be imperceptible to us, but everything has moved slightly and shifted slightly, and this will affect our weather patterns and other energies on Earth. So what they're saying is, this is Dacia Gaia who gave this example yesterday, and he said, it's like going to sleep at night and your spine settles in the place. All the little segments of your spine settle in a place for the night. That's what's happening now. Everything is just settling within the universe, settling into its place. And settling all these sort of magnetic zones. It's to do with magnetics. This is to do with magnetics. And they are settling in their new environment. So we often say, or I often hear, think it and it will be so. So for us, all of you, using our mind, we can travel into different locations and ambiances. And by doing this, when you go to sleep at night, clearing all the rubbish out your mind, all the day's events, relaxing, meditation, you're able to see a lot more clearly in your thought. And you need to get rid of tech. So switch your phone off, or don't look at your phone, switch your TV off, and just have a lovely peaceful environment. And forests are great places to do that. But where I'm standing here in the middle of this forest, we're about -5 at the moment. So I'm not awfully keen to be spending too much longer here. So, the family. Bigfoot. Their spiritual being. Like our guides, they follow our footsteps. They are opening unseen paths and doors for us, but they're unable to alter our course or our path of free will, but certainly they oil the wheels. They show us things that we later recognise perhaps as déjà vu, but maybe we've been subtly shown other alternatives and options. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So, just about opening your mind, and we mustn't have a fixed position and a fixed perspective on things. So that's the end of our question and answers, and I really, really want to say thank you to Dacia Gaia, thank you to Abak, and thank you to Athenian for making all of this possible. And over the next few weeks, if you wish to, put some questions on the comment section, or you can send me an email if you want to. And what I will do is I'll do this again if you like to do this. The people are they're magnificent in their answers, and sometimes they're very funny as well. So we'll do this again. Okay, folks, stay safe, be good, be kind to each other in word, thought and deed, be your best self. Bye now, bye.